Please listen carefully.
And welcome back after a long hiatus to the Focus Target podcast. This is your host, Smiley, with season. Shouldn't this be season 4? Should we make this season 4
No,
since we had a break?
no,
I
we're
mean,
not. No,
call
we
it
just
live
know the
episode.
seasons
I wondered
year
about that.
by
I didn't
year.
know. Is it by
Season
year?
by
Yeah,
year.
that's
Okay.
what we
Alright.
decided.
Okay, so we're still in season 3, episode 102. We're back again. With me, as always, Van and Shy. How you guys been?
What's up, buddy?
Why,
How you doing?
hello.
I'm just sitting here checking my auction house log to see if anything's sold.
Nice.
Nice. You
It's
know,
been like a month and a half since we saw each other or talked to each other.
75,000 gil worth of sleeping potions that I'm hoping will sell sometime soon.
Nice.
it's probably our longtime fans of the show might have been thinking we would be off longer, like 3 years or so, but we're back after just a couple months. And today, since we kind of missed in our absence the kickoff of the NHL season, we're going to kind of do a little bit of an NHL themed podcast today. We're going to talk about where each of our respective teams are so far in the season and where we're going. So, before we get to that, though, we figured we'd do our question of the day, since that's kind of what we do here on the Focus Target podcast. Question of the day today is, what you been up to? I mean, it's been almost 2 months since our last pod. What's going on in your life? I feel like probably I should start, since the delay was based on my needs, and that was because I had a baby, and the baby did arrive successfully with no complications or issues. So that was awesome. Little Samson is the newest Avalanche fan. Um, and so he's
How do you
almost.
know that though? Like he could
Oh,
be a
I don't.
VGK.
I don't.
He could be a Golden Knights fan.
That's fair. Very famously, when I was a kid, I was really into football, and of course, Broncos household. Right, my mom. I grew up watching the Broncos. Like, I was the good luck charm for the drive in 1989, where they infamously drove down and beat the Browns in the playoffs. And yet, when I started to grow up, like, I liked a lot of other teams. I didn't really love the Broncos that much. In fact, I was going against the Broncos in a couple of their early Super Bowls that they ended up losing, and my family basically almost disowned me because of that. So
Oh,
that's a great point. You never know if your kids are going to follow
Yeah.
in your footsteps, or kind of be rebellious. But
like I
he's
bet
an Avs fan right now because I don't have a
I-
choice.
I'd be willing to make this bet in front of everybody and all our listeners.
Oh,
I bet beyond anything, and Shy, we've never talked about this before, right? But I bet your parents were not Kraken fans.
My parents?
way to
Mhm.
go out on a
It's a
limb
weird,
there.
it's a weird, a
Just
weird
saying.
bet.
Like, yep, I'm probably right though.
Not gonna
Some stacked odds right there.
take the money on that one. Yeah. But yeah. So anyway, he's been watching some games with me. He seems to sleep very well when the Avalanche are playing,
Nice.
so that's very nice. Um, but yeah, he's doing good. Mom's healthy. We're starting to get a little bit more sleep, not a lot, because it's still that age, but it's going well, and that's what I've been doing, is taking care of baby and trying to fit in a little FFXI and other games on the side. There hasn't been a lot of time for that kind of stuff, but more kind of than I expected, honestly. Like, I feel like I've gotten more in than I thought I would, so pretty happy with that. All right, let's turn it over to Shy. Shy, what you been up to?
Not a lot to report here. No babies. No,
Oh, babies.
nothing like that. Work's been kind of crazy the last, like 6 to 8 weeks. So just, busy at work and chilling out when I'm not working. So.
Cool. What have you been? Have you been playing anything besides FFXI?
I played some of the new Tales game, Tales of Arise, that came out. I think that came out since we took
Yeah,
a break.
it did. Yeah.
I like it. It's been pretty fun to play, but I mean, mostly FXI. Yeah, it's been kind of the flavor of the season.
All right.
Yeah, what did we start? We started in like June, I think it was mid
Something
June.
like that. Yeah, I think so. So yeah,
Oh,
we've
almost
made
5
it
months
almost
already.
6
That's
months.
pretty good.
Yeah, 6 months. Well,
We'd have to go back and listen to our predictions.
yeah, yeah, we did. I think FFXI report 1, we took the predictions of how long we'd be playing, or
Did we
would we
write them
be
down? We
playing?
did write them down though, didn't we?
Did we? Let's see.
I think we would have. While
I
you're
should
looking that up, I will just tell you
Go
what I've
ahead.
been doing quickly.
Yes, please do.
Nice.
Um, Not much either. Not much has changed either. Just busy being a parent, as you can imagine, is a full-time job. But between that full-time job and my actual full-time job, just finding time to play video games. A couple new games have come down the line. Hopefully, some things we'll talk about on the podcast eventually. But participated in the beta for 2042 or 2142. 2042. 2142 was the other iteration of Battlefield. And then, as everybody knows, playing Final Fantasy 11, and then Far Cry 6 came out, a game that I've talked about a lot on this podcast too. So, been dabbling in that as well, bouncing between the two. Probably splitting my time 50-50 right now, just because it's just easy to pick up a controller on a console and play, and as opposed to the dedication required to sit down for a
No,
quick session in Final Fantasy 11.
no
So,
such thing as quick session in Final
no,
Fantasy.
I tried to do one today. I was seeking while alchemy. No party, but at least I got my alchemy up like 5 levels, so that was exciting.
Yeah, at least you're
So
making
what do you
progress.
got? What do you got on those predictions? What were we saying? What kind of things were we buzzing?
Uh, the Final Fantasy 11 one related one was, will all of us be playing FFXI by September of 2022?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was like a
yeah,
year
that's
out.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh,
Van said yay, Shine I said nay, but so far we're all still going. But
you
a lot of
guys want to
time left.
change your answers?
I don't know about that.
I don't know either. I think
I think at
I'm
this point
worried.
I'm willing to change my answer to nay. I don't think we will be playing in September
I
2022.
like to hope we will.
Me
I think
too, but
might be, but I feel like
I don't know.
it's already hard. We see it when even one person loses time,
Mhm.
then other people start looking for other things to do and sometimes get wrapped up in other things. So it's the hard part about 11 is it's so like other people are
That's
so
its
much
charm,
required.
right? So
It's the
weird.
double-edged sword of it, right? Like, it's what makes it great, but, like, when you're adults with competing responsibilities, living in different time zones, like, and you're relying on other people to consistently be around to really make progress and do things, and especially when a lot of times, as both of us have found out maybe a little bit recently, all of us have found out, or I shouldn't say found out, all of us have been reminded somewhat recently that like it can be very painful when when you don't have your crew around, you're forced to go out and try to make do with what's out there. Sometimes it can be a very not rewarding experience,
That's
especially
not
like
pretty.
when your time's limited too.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like I don't have a lot of time to play. I happened to have a little time last night and today, and it was completely squandered by people who just were incompetent or it was just no good. And it was like I wish I would have spent that time doing something else now because I didn't really make any progress, and that's valuable windows of time that I usually don't have. So it can be a very frustrating endeavor. But yeah, so I guess that's the update. I didn't say what I've been playing other than FFXI. I've been doing some Diablo 2. Resurrected
Nice.
has been fun. I've enjoyed that on PS5. I'm still keeping up with WarioWare on on Switch, which I really like, and I got the new Mario Superstars Mario Party game that came out, and that is pretty badass as well. I've really enjoyed that, and
Nice.
like I think it came out last Thursday, so I've only had that for a couple days, but um, it's been solid. Van, I hope that you'll pick that
Wait,
up.
Mario Party is out?
Yeah, the new party, new Mario Party is out.
What?
It's got fully functional online multiplayer,
Yes. I'm
fully
downloading
functional.
that as like the minute we're done.
Yeah, we should hook up some time for that. And
For
what's awesome
sure.
is I've confirmed as well that something that like some previous Nintendo titles did not have is like you can actually play local and like for
Oh, that's
example,
awesome. So
you
I can
and
have 2
Sheeny
controllers here.
could
That's nice.
play Sarah and I, or you and Sheeny could play Sarah, or could you, me, Shy, and Sheeny or Sarah, or like a fourth
So me and
party.
Sheeny could
Sam.
play you 2. So it could be like
Yes,
2 local
yes,
playing, 1 remote, 1 remote.
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
No
that's cool.
freaking
Which is
way.
so yeah, and it's fun, man. Like one of the coolest thing
I'm
about it,
doing it.
I think, is sorry, this turned into a Mario Party Superstars review, which we'll probably get into more later. But the one thing that I'll say that I think is awesome is that like it's it all looks really good. And so
Mm.
like you're playing these mini games that you played on N64,
Yeah.
and like now you're seeing it and it looks like it's like it looks it's like like there's the one that jumped out at me is the one where you're on an island and there's a ship in the background shooting cannonballs, and you're like have to stay on the island, like it's like trying to tip you off. And it's like that looks so good, and then like it's so much more um I'd say enjoyable because it feels like you're a little bit it's like easier to see where you are. Like you feel a lot more in control
Yeah.
versus on the N64, like it's like it's so polygony. You like sometimes you just fall in, you don't even know what's going on.
Frame
So
rate's probably better, and yeah,
way better.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so like that has been really cool. Like seeing
Nice.
some of these old games that were really fun um come back like that. So
Have
I'm
you and
always
Sarah been
amazed at
playing
how.
together?
not
No.
yet.
All
She's
right.
we're going to try to play, but there are very, very few times since
Hmm.
Samson has come that
Hmm.
she and I have been both free,
That's good.
able to do things together, and not sleeping.
Yeah.
Not those things not be sleeping.
Yeah.
Um, it's been we've been very much like dividing things up in shifts, and so like if I'm awake with the baby, she's getting her things done or taking a nap or like whatever, and then we're kind of switching off. So we hope
Yeah,
to
that's the only
one
way
day.
to do it, man.
Yeah, it's it's been a good system, but it has sucked. Is like our time together
Yes.
awake has been minimal, and it's very sad. But it'll get better. It'll get better as he starts to sleep more. Um,
Yeah, not
but
soon though.
I think she's looking forward to trying it out. Like she likes Mario Party, and I think it'll be fun too. To like I said, to be able to for us together to play people like maybe Van and Sheeny or whoever else ended up getting it. So I recommend it so far. I think it's been a lot of fun. I think it's been really great. All right,
I'm
we
Nice.
were
always
oh, go ahead.
amazed.
Yeah,
What
please.
I
Oh,
was
yeah,
saying
go ahead.
is
Yeah.
that how far like so I'm reading reviews and critics and all that stuff, right? And you got Metacritic gave it a 79%. GameStop gave it a 4.3 out of 5, which would equate to what, like an 80. I guess it's still like
86.
an 86%. So that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
bad. But it says all the users who play this video game give it a 95%.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how are the critics always like so far off the mark
I
from
mean, movie
when you
rankings
get
are
a
always like
thousand?
that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
four reviewers, right?
Yeah.
And then you have thousands of participants, and the participants are sometimes just way off from the reviewers. It's
I think s for
mind-boggling.
I think it's because the criteria is often very different. Like, when you're
Yeah.
reviewing, you're really comparing Mario Party to every other game, to every other party game, to every other Mario Party game, and you're keeping this all in context. And a lot of times the users are like, "Is this game fun?"
Yeah.
That's all I
I
want to know.
don't
Yeah,
I don't
will I
care
enjoy this
about the
game?
last
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mario Party. I don't
Yeah.
care whether there's another
right,
party game that's better. Is this game enjoyable? Like,
right.
it's a much different criteria, I think, is why.
Yeah,
That
I think you're right.
could be an interesting podcast as
Well,
well. Like,
yeah, I think you're being kind of optimistic because I bet a lot of reviewers also have like a burden on their shoulders of like thinking that they
maybe.
need to like say something important or something new and like worried about like what
Mm.
their
Yeah.
peers will say about them if they're like too easy on a game or I don't know.
What
Well,
was
you
that
also
GameStop magazine?
Game
Game
Informer.
Game
Informer.
Power? Game
Game
Informer.
Informer.
I
Yeah.
remember Game Informer was accused of being like ultra like biased positive because they wanted to sell video games. So like
Mm.
everything was always great and like
Mm.
9 of 10 and 10 of 10 and all
Yeah,
that
that
stuff. And
makes sense. Like, why? I mean,
yeah,
what you gonna say? This game's bad. No one's gonna go buy it. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of meat to chew there. I think we should circle back around to this. That could be
Nice.
a cool topic. But I want to talk hockey
Mm.
because it's hockey season, baby. NHL season is. I don't know how many games have your teams played. Avs played 8 so far. I think
8.
most teams are
I
kind of
think
around the 8,
we're
10.
at
Well,
we're at
hold on.
10 for the Kraken.
We're at 8 with an asterisk because they're literally playing right now.
Oh,
Gotcha.
oh,
Yeah, they
really?
just
They're
started
kind
at
of.
7, right? Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yep.
it must be an
Mm.
East Coast team they're playing because that's an
Yep.
early puck drop. Cool.
Who are they
All right.
playing? I
Well,
remember I
look,
saw it, but yeah, never mind.
we'll get to that when VGK comes up,
All right,
right?
there you
But
go.
let's start with the newbies, new kids on the block. Seattle Kraken. Some people say Kraken. I say Kraken.
Nobody
Has
says crack.
has
Oh, wait.
been has
Nobody
been
says
well.
crack.
See,
Man, you fell into his trap.
I fell into his
Yeah,
trap.
just as an aside, like one of my most vindicating moments ever is I think it's in the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Oh
Is
man.
when they have this discussion, like the two dudes on the boat are like,
Yeah.
"Is it Kraken or is it Kraken?" He's like, "What do you mean? Is it Kraken or Kraken?" Well, some people say it one way, some. And I was like, "See, there are people out there who think Kraken is a legitimate
What did they decide on?
pronunciation." I don't remember. I haven't seen that movie
What
forever.
do they
But
say? What's the release? The Kraken isn't that the official pronunciation in the
Kraken,
famous quote?
Yeah.
that's what you hear
Yes.
most frequently. Yeah.
From Liam Neeson and from whoever played Davy Jones.
But anyway, sorry for the
Yes.
aside there. Please tell
Yeah.
us
So
how's the season gone so far?
am I like the Kraken reporter reacting as our own like
That's
journalist, like our
right.
own little
That's right.
like
Let's
beat
do it.
reporter for our team?
That's right. Give
Okay,
us an
well,
update on
I'm here in the
Seattle.
field, and yeah. So I think I'm the youngest of the hockey fans on this podcast. Rooting for the youngest
Not by
team,
much.
as Smiley's already pointed out. Yeah, so I guess the Kraken have played the most games of any of our teams. They're at 10 games right now. The record right now is 3-6-1. So not stellar. Specifically stellar. Not abysmal like an Arizona Coyotes or Chicago Blackhawks record, but definitely not like a better one. Now, last night they what?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, we're not going to get into the Chicago situation if that's what you're saying. Yeah.
I think going on there.
So last night we played the Edmonton Oilers, which are one of the top teams in the league, both standing wise and I believe player wise as well, and did not do too well against them. Yeah, I don't really know. I guess highlights from what the season has held so far. It's been cool. It was cool seeing them play at home. So they were on the road the first 5 games of the season, and then they had, I guess it was 4 home games. I think last night they were in Edmonton. I think, and so it's cool seeing them in Climate Pledge Arena. It was finally finished. I think the only arena in the world maybe that's a zero carbon footprint arena, which is kind of cool. Like it's pretty cool. Like the whole like history and story
Seattle
behind that. Yeah, very, very like Seattle, very progressive, very green. And I think they did some really cool stuff to like make it happen. Like there's like a lot of, I think, interesting digging you can do, but like I think they like used the roof from the previous arena that had been there, Key Arena. Like they suspended it somehow in the sky after they tore down Key Arena to save the metal basically from it. So then they just reused it in this arena. So like it's not getting like trashed somewhere. It wasn't dumped somewhere. But yeah, just like play wise, it's been cool seeing them play. They, I think some of the like, I know Van experienced this with the Golden Knights, but I think the thing with an expansion team is you get a lot of like non-headlining players from teams. You get a lot of like middle of the road players, and it's always interesting to see who kind of stands out, who kind of rises to the top, who are these players kind of took a back seat on other teams and are now going to have a chance to play. And so I think some of the standouts have been. I think that there were some names like Yanni Gourde, I think, was expected to do well because he was doing really well on the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I mean, just a really deep team in general. But I think Brandon Tanev has really kind of stood out on Seattle Kraken. And I don't remember what team he came from, but I don't know that was really an expectation. But he's already, I think he has our second most goals, if not our most goals on the team already. At I think 5 or 6. And then Jordan McCann, I think it's Jordan McCann has had he's been one of our top scorers. I think scoring is one of the issues right now with the Kraken, which was an issue a lot of people saw going into the team. We have a lot of defensemen, not a lot of powerful forwards, and so that has been an issue. And our goaltending hasn't really been stellar. We did get Grubauer from the Avalanche, and he's had a couple standout games, like he's had a couple good games, but he's had some rough games as well. I think I heard some people talk about the idea, and they're not sure if it's true or not, but like there have been a number of games where the Seattle has forechecked a lot, and therefore Grubauer hasn't had a lot of shots against him, and it almost feels like when he does get shot at, they go in. And so I think that I was listening to some people the other day speculating whether or not maybe he's a goalie that needs constant like interaction with the opponent's forwards, like maybe he could get distracted or.
It wasn't really the case last year. He faced
Right.
like I think the fewest shots in the league, either fewest or second fewest. The Avalanche had a really stifling defense last year,
Gotcha.
and he did really well. But that was one of the knocks against him was that like he didn't have to do much last year. And yeah, he had a great stat line and everything, but like he wasn't really tested all that much until really our defense started to get hurt and came up against the Golden Knights in the playoffs. And then when they kind of needed him to like carry the load because the defense wasn't really there, he didn't so much. I think that's one of the reasons they were willing to deal him was because they felt like
Gotcha.
maybe he was, you know, but like it's hard to say. I always think too that like it takes a while, I think, for a goaltender to get comfortable playing in front of a team.
Hmm.
Like the Kraken, I'm sure are much different style and different personnel and everything than what Grubauer was used to in Colorado. And so I think that just takes some time to settle in for a goalie. So you don't want to judge him too harshly by his first 10, 20 games. Like you got to give him a chance to kind of get his feet wet.
And then I guess maybe to wrap it up, unless you guys have any specific questions, is their special teams. I think their penalty kill was like going into last night. It was like 90%. I think last night they Edmonton went 1 out of 3, so I mean they were 66%, or last night. But Edmonton has like a 50% power play, so I mean it's still pretty good to hold them to 1 out of 3 power on the power play.
I can't imagine they're 50%. It might be like
no,
30.
no. After last night, it's 50%.
No,
They have the number 1 power play in the league. The announcers were talking about this in their game
I
last
don't
night.
believe it.
Yeah. I mean, you can
There's
double
no
check.
way.
That's what the announcers
Unless
were
they've
saying
only had
last
like 2
night.
power plays.
No, Edmonton is, I think, tearing it up right now.
I'm gonna.
That's
I
wild.
think Smiley's
Dude.
gonna fact check
I gotta check that. And I mean, if that's true, that is out of control.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
absolutely out of control because
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ludicrous.
that is not right.
I'm not saying that lightly.
46.2%. No way.
Wow.
Oh my god. How is that possible? The
and
next
apparently,
highest team is 35, and it is still early in the season.
yeah.
So I wonder what the
Yeah,
denominator
it's like a
of that
baseball player
is.
having a batting average over
Right,
500, like in
right.
5 games.
In the first couple games, in the first
Right.
weeks
So
of the season.
in comparison, Seattle's power play I think is 10% right now. So that's an area that we're really
Let's not talk
struggling.
about
Like,
Golden
yeah,
Knights power
I
play.
wasn't gonna spoil your I figured you could touch on it if you want to, because I know what the Golden Knights power play is. But
It's the
yeah.
only one. It's only 1 or 2 lower than Seattle. Seattle's at 30th. Golden
Yeah,
Knights. Oh my
we're not
gosh.
doing great. Yeah. But there you
I
go.
thought for sure they were going to get one against Colorado, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Me too. They had some long, good opportunities too, but
Well, what's funny
never
is
happened.
okay. So Vegas is 32, Seattle's 30, Colorado's 28. So we're in the bottom 6
There you go.
across the league.
What is Golden Knights percentage? 9, right?
I thought it was 0.
9 point.
0.
Oh,
They
it's
haven't
still
scored
0.
Golden Knights,
haven't
yeah.
scored one.
Still
Unless they get one
0.
today. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, coming into today's game exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh boy. Well, I do have a question for you, Shai. Have you gotten to watch all the games? How many of the
Oh
10 games
no,
have you
no, I
seen?
haven't been able to watch all the games, and I haven't been able to watch all the games in their duration either. I think I've been able to watch maybe 2 of the games in a sitting, basically. The problem is most of the games are starting at like 9 or 10 at night, and I just can't justify staying up that late, because normally they're on a weeknight or Sunday night. Oddly enough, not Saturday night,
Yeah,
but Sunday night.
last Sunday
If
night
it was
hockey,
if it was Friday or Saturday night, it'd be perfect. But so what I normally do is, I think in the preseason we talked about this a little bit, or maybe it was the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. I wouldn't look at scores the next day until I would like watch the game on demand the next morning. But they're playing so much now, like I just can't like do that all the time. So I've just been like, I watched as much, like last night I watched the first period, and then this morning I just woke up and looked at the score because I was like, I don't know, I can't do that. But
Sure.
I've been trying to watch them when I
hard
can.
they're East Coast and they're a West Coast team. Even for me, like I'm only an hour pushed, and like I hate when they're playing on the West. The Avs are playing on the West Coast because they don't start till 8. The game doesn't end till like 11, and it's just like I'm not a fan. I like when they're at the right time. Honestly, I like
Yeah.
when they start at 7. That's that's what I enjoy. 7 o'clock Mountain.
So
That's
like
what I like to kick it
So
off.
like Thursday and Saturday. So this Thursday they're playing they're playing Buffalo, and on Saturday they're playing
Yeah.
Arizona. And both of those, I mean, those are Arizona's not technically an East Coast team, but
No.
both of those will be at 7 Pacific time. Never mind. Yeah, darn it. Well, they're both gonna be at 10. But for Saturday night at 10 isn't horrible. So maybe I'll try to. I won't watch that.
When you get the East Coast teams in the East Coast cities is when they'll kick off at like 7 your time.
Yeah.
So that'll be a little easier for you.
Yeah.
Like that's how it's set up. Is that for the most part, the home team puck drops at 7 local time, like as a standard game. There are exceptions, like if there's
Gotcha.
a double header sometimes on weekends, it's different. But like on normal weeknights, it's 7 o'clock at local is when the puck drops for the most part. So
I remember really disliking that when I would be in Philadelphia and whatnot, trying to watch the
oh
Dodgers
yeah,
starting at 7, and that's 10 o'clock my time. I'm like, are
yeah,
you kidding me? I'm not staying up till 1 a.m. to watch that put us into what, maybe the 7th inning?
right.
I'm like, there's no way, dude. I mean, baseball games are averaging 3.5 hours, so yeah, it's not
Man.
gonna happen.
Yeah, at least hockey is a little bit shorter. I think a hockey
Yeah.
game usually like
Just
2,
over
2 and a half.
2.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's still late.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? Van, do you have any questions for Shy on the Kraken?
What do you think so far, Shy? I mean, I know it's hard with a new team, especially only 10 games into the season, but like
Yeah.
how's it been just being a hockey fan in general?
Like, do I feel like I'm gonna stick with it? Am I enjoying it? Am I gonna?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
exactly.
so. Yeah, I think so. I think it's cool, like being on the ground floor. Like, I feel like in
Yeah.
20 or 30 years, to if I have children or grandchildren or whatever, like it'd be fun to be like, ah, yeah, I remember watching Brandon Tanev and Jordan Eberle in that initial season.
Year
Like,
to year, yeah.
it's cool to be on the ground
Yeah.
floor. And I mean, I love Seattle. It's fun to watch hockey. The last couple games, even though I think we've lost the last two, we definitely lost last night. And we lost to New York Rangers. So we played two good teams. We've
Two
lost
good
both of them the last
yeah.
two games. But like we've played, in my opinion, from a novice's eyes, we've played well. Like it's not like we've been in their face. And I think we've outshot both teams. Like the problem is we're just like either we're going up against good goaltenders or our shots are bad. But like we've been like on them on the puck. Like it's been fun. I think. Oh, and then it was just cool. All right, I don't know. Yeah, right. I'll wrap it up. But the first goal last night that we got, I think it was Eberle, and like he did this, like I don't even know how he made the goal. Like he was tangled up by like two or three Oilers, and he like somehow he's like they're fighting him right in front of the net. He's like he was making a solo drive towards the opponent's net, and like they're all over him, and somehow he was able to like maintain his stick while he was like turned and just like slap it kind of backwards, and it just went right through like the Oilers goalie's like legs. Like I don't think he thought a shot was gonna get off, and so he kind of like delayed reaction, closed his legs up, but it went through, and it was like I think there's just stuff like that I guess like maybe it's equivalent to like a Hail Mary or something like that. But it was just I feel like the pace of the game is really cool and like you never know what's gonna happen versus like I don't know. Like I still like football, but it feels like it's almost like more predictable or more like I don't know. That's probably not a good term to
I,
use.
I think I
But
know what you mean. I think I know what you're getting at there. I think the fun thing about hockey too is that, and the Golden Knights proved this their first season, is that like hard work can really get you very far.
Hmm.
Like if two teams have equal work ethic, usually the talent is going to win out. But a team can definitely make up for lack of talent by outworking the team. Like teams that try to like sit back and say, "Oh, we're better and we're just going to be better." Like 10 it's you got to be a lot better in hockey to get by with that. You really see teams that are tenacious and work hard and have a good work ethic have a lot of success. And so like I think that's a great thing about it. That's why hockey isn't like say basketball, where you basically know who's going to be in the final four, that barring
Hmm.
catastrophic injury at the beginning of the season. Like you can pick who you think are going to be in the conference championships, and usually you get it 75% of those teams correct. Hockey's just not like that because it's so much about there's so many intangibles and it's so much about like who brings it on a given night.
Cool.
You're also, like it is cool to get it on the ground floor, and it sucks that a lot of times as an expansion team you do have to pay your dues. Like Van and I were both spoiled in that the year I became an Avs fan, the year they moved to Denver from Quebec, they won the Stanley Cup. And the
That's
year that Van became a Golden Knights fan, when they in their first year, they didn't win the Stanley Cup, but they got to a Stanley Cup, which
right.
is
They
pretty
got
darn
to.
good.
Yeah.
Like way better than you expect from a new team. So, we both got to go start off with a bang.
And they've been
I'm
in the playoffs every year since. So,
Yeah,
well, I think
yeah.
except for one, right? Yeah. I'll have to
No, I
check
think
that.
I think they have been I think they've been every year. I think they've been to like the conference finals every year except for
Yeah, I
one.
think you're right. I think it,
Like no, they've been yeah, because they've been eliminated. Oh, maybe you are right. Because how long? What year is
I
this
think it
for?
was 1 year that they didn't. I think it was
I think
2
you're right.
years ago. 29 was it 19?
I remember last year the stat when we played in the second round was that the Golden Knights had been eliminated in every round except the second. They lost in the first, they lost in the third, they lost in the finals, but they never lost in the second round, and that's why I thought the Avs might like knock them out for the cycle, but they failed.
Yep.
Okay, so one missed playoff, one first round exit.
No, so look at this. Lost Stanley Cup, lost first round, lost conference, lost conference. I know they've gone every single year.
So they have gone every single year.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So I think it
Yeah,
was the first round I was
that's
thinking of
that's
19.
spoiled stuff. So the Avs started very well for me, but like I've lived through some rough times in Avalanche land, so I know what that's like. But it makes it all the more rewarding, I think, when your team gets good again. Like to pay
Yeah,
your
it's kind of
dues.
like being a Raider fan in this season that we're seeing right now. Like 5-2. I mean, I know we're not talking football here, but shit, when's the last time the Raiders went 5-2?
Yeah,
Hmm.
top of the division too, since the Chargers
Yep.
lost. All right, Avs turn. Avs are 4-4 this season. They've won their last two, three. I think three actually,
2.
maybe three of the last four.
They start out 1-4.
I think
It was 2.
I think
Let me
they've
take a peek.
they've won three out of four. I think
All
that
right.
because I think they played Tampa then Vegas and they lost to Vegas,
They
but then
did
they
lose to
came back
Vegas.
and win two. So they beat Tampa, then they lost to Vegas, then they've won back to back against Minnesota and St. Louis. But you know, they started bad. They started 1-3. Um, skies falling in Avalanche country because when you're a good team and you've got Stanley Cup aspirations and you don't just dominate from the beginning of the season on, everybody freaks out. People are talking about should the coach be fired and this and that. And I just want anybody who is listening and cares about my opinion to just settle down a little bit here. All right, the coach is not getting fired. That's not going to happen. That's just not how this organization has been since Sakic has been the president of hockey operations. Like, I would be like, I would put vast sums of money to tell you that Jared Bednar's not going anywhere before at least like the midpoint of the season. If we get to like the midpoint of the season and they're down at the bottom of the standings, then you never know. But they're not going to pull the trigger, especially this early. Especially when you consider like their four losses are all against quality opponents, playoff teams: Washington, Vegas Golden Knights, um, St. Louis, who was undefeated until the Avs beat them the other night, and Florida Panthers, who were our contender for the Eastern Conference. They're in the Eastern Conference. I don't know if I know they got to at least the second round. I don't know if they got to the finals last year or not. I think they lost to Tampa Bay,
That's right.
which is the team that won the Stanley Cup. So, ooh, like I mean, we've lost to four really good opponents. Um, we haven't had our full complement of players. Like I think the big line's only been together for two of the 8 games, 2 or 3 of the 8 games. Devon Tames hasn't even dressed for a game. Our defense has had people in and out. Our front lines are down. 2 of our top 6 forwards are injured. 3 technically because Ranton hasn't been playing. So it's been a bit of a mess. There's overall, I've been really pleased with the way they've played the last couple games. I think they've really kind of come around and are looking like you would expect. But like it's going to take time. And the fact is, nobody cares what they do in the regular season. Like they're not going to miss the playoffs unless something catastrophic happens. Like they're a very good team. And what matters is what they do in the postseason. Like if they can't get past the second round again, I think you've got a bigger danger of big changes being made than anything they do in the regular season because the measure that the Avs are going to be drawn by this year is what they do in the postseason, not what they do in the regular season. So,
How many
so
teams
blue
make it to
were
the playoffs?
16 out of 32.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That is absurd.
it's not that. It's really actually not that. I mean, it is. It's competitive, but like, you know, if you deserve to be in the playoffs, you get into the playoffs. Like if
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, that's one way to think about it. Like,
you know,
yeah, right.
if you can't get in after an 82 game season and be in the top half of the league, like
Unlike the Dodgers winning
yeah.
106 games and still making it in only on a
Right.
wild card.
Right. Like
Like,
it's not
what?
baseball. It's not baseball where you just can have the unluckiness of having a great team in your division. Or sometimes like I mean we see it in baseball all the time, right? Like one division ends up being really good. And it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm the third best team in our division. I'm also the third best team in the conference, but, you know, it's kind of rough." I think we see that in like the AL East with like the Yankees and the Sox and now
Yep.
like like I feel like that happens every year. Like there's some decent teams there that just kind of get stuffed down by their
Yep.
by their opponents. Anyway, that's it. That's what's up for the Avs. Avs faithful, just take a breath, enjoy the season. Let's try to get the injuries out of the way now, and don't freak out. That's where I'm at. Van, preaching a similar
Yeah,
message with VGK?
I was just gonna say, we could take your monologue and just put in Golden Knights wherever you put ads, and it would make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because much like you, I mean, we're 4-4, so the record stands the same. We've won the last 3 of our. Luckily, we've won the last 3 of our games in a row, which has been awesome. So we had the honor of playing the Kraken on their debut.
Right, yeah.
We ended up winning that game, and then we ended up losing the net following three, and then we ended up winning the most recent three, and then I guess we won one, or no, we lost four. Sorry, I'm screwing this all up. Won one, lost four, and then won three. So now we're 4-4 again. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
we did go on a 4 game skid, but again, there were some good teams in there. You had the Oilers, you had the Blues, things like that.
and
So
now you've had the, Avs and Kraken haven't played each other, but you've played both of our teams and come out on top.
yeah,
And you gotta feel
victorious on
good
both of
about
them.
that Avalanche one too, because 'cause you're missing your 2 top players and
Yeah,
still
so
got it
that's a
done.
nice segue. We've been riddled with injury.
Yeah.
Pacioretty played the first 2 games, I think, and he hasn't done anything in the last six. We just lost Carlson last night, and that
Ooh,
line is like everything. Yeah,
yeah,
so
that's a big loss.
we've been pretty riddled with injuries. So we're waiting for all that to come back. Carlson's week by week. He's not even day by day. So who knows? Or excuse me, Pacioretty's week by week. He's not even day by day. So I don't know, but they've had a good last 3 games, and they're currently losing
What
um
was score?
today. It's 1-0. Let me see, where's it at. Hold on one second. I have the Avalanche stuff up because I was checking some stuff here. Let's
Mm.
go back to the Golden Knights.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's 1-0 into the first, and Maple Leafs have the Golden Knights right now.
Left.
So was really disappointed with I mean, it's hard to lose Flurry, and
Is it hard
then
to
you're
use
like, okay,
Flurry?
great. Oh my gosh.
Seemed like your
Are you kidding
ownership
me?
didn't find it too hard to lose Flurry.
You're right. You're right. And I get it, like sell high, especially when you have Leonard, right? Who did perform well with the exception of 1 game in the playoffs. Like looked absolutely amazing. Looked like a starter on almost any other team. So I get why you don't need both of them. Plus I think they were taking up like 8 million in payroll,
Mm.
just the two
9,
of
I
them.
think, yeah.
Yeah, 9 million in payroll, just the two of them. So you got to off. Um, but it's hard to know you had Flurry, you let him go, and then Leonard's given up like 4 games a goal on average for like the first 4 games, and you're like, crap. Like, did we make? I mean, we knew it was a okay. So this is super controversial. I was gonna say we knew it was a bad decision, but I guess some people didn't know it was a bad decision or have said no, it's not a bad decision. So that's a whole conversation on its own. But then to see Leonard come out and give up 4 games goals a game is like just rough, man. Like there's only so much you can ask from your offense, and it's not five goals a game.
No, no,
You
it's
know,
very
and
much
expecting to win.
a 3-goal league right now. A lot of times,
Yeah.
like, not like the stats say that, every game's different, but like a majority of the time, if you're the first team to 3, you end up with the W. So,
Yeah. So the last 3 games that we have won, it's been well, it was 3-1 against the Avs, and then it was 3-2 against the Stars, and then the against the Ducks was a little bit different as 4. So he's improved a little bit the last 3 games, but not by much. So um I still have faith. He's awesome. He's a good goalie, and I'm sure we'll see the better of him later. And I think like you've said before, Smiley, I'd rather them get all the cobwebs off and do all that crap in the beginning and then end strong, right? Going into the playoffs as opposed to the other way around. Like have a killer season for, 80% of the season and then just completely lose the last 20% and into playoffs.
I feel like that's happened a couple times to teams that I've enjoyed watching, the Avs included, where it's like you feel like they're playing their best hockey like 30 games in, and then they get to the end of the season into the postseason. It's not that they've gotten bad, but they're just not. You can't keep up the highest level indefinitely. Like it's human nature. Like you want your team performing the best at the most crucial time of the year. So I completely agree with that. That's you know suck at the beginning, whatever. Like you don't
Yeah.
want to dig yourself too deep of a hole, but like especially 10 games into the NHL season, 82 game season, like it's just you're going to be able to
Yeah.
recover for if you're a good team. You see it happens every year, and every year you see a team come out like I think like I forget last year or if it was 2 years ago. Like Buffalo was like number one in the league. They were like 20-3 to start the season. They didn't even make the playoffs. So like yeah, because they weren't actually a good team, like, they got really hot, like, everything was clicking, and then they never even made the playoffs that season, and I was like I remember having to, like, check it because I was like, "Wait a minute, they're not even in the picture," but, like, by the end of the season, they'd fallen off, and, like, it's a long season, it's about consistency over time, not about, about 1 game necessarily. It's a little bit like baseball in that way, where, like, you kinda look at, like, 10-game stretches. Like, what's their record over the last 10 games, and like you try to have more ups and down. But as we mentioned, like baseball is so much more cutthroat about teams making the playoffs. Like you
Yep.
do you do really have to not lose ground because like one or two teams ahead of you could be the end of it for you. Hockey's just not that, it's not that bad. So
Yeah, it's one team per division and then 2 wild cards per league. Like
yeah,
that's
that's
crazy.
that's tight. That is tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about the future a little bit as we kind of segued into that. Do you guys have any predictions for the year? Like, what I guess here's what I want to know is like I've kind of already talked about mine. I'm more interested in hearing from Shy, but like, what do you like? What's your hope for the year? Like, let's say we get to the end of the season. What what do you consider a success for your team this season? For the Avalanche, I think everybody says you got to at least get to the conference championship, right? Like they've been out in the second round 3 years in a row. Like they got to take that next step and let's at least get to the conference finals, if not win the cup. Um, but what do you guys think? I don't know whichever of you guys wants to jump in, like because I'm a little bit springing this on you. But like, what do you think is a successful year this season for your team?
I jump to Van because this is probably going to be similar to yours, I'd imagine.
I imagine it will.
Yeah,
Van.
conference finals was the first thing that came to mind when you mentioned this. Like they absolutely have to. I was gonna mention, this is a good segue, the 3 keys to the Golden Knights' success going forward after what we've seen from 8 games. And it's pretty universal. But it's fewer goals per game allowed by Leonard. It's stay healthy.
Yeah,
Like try to stay healthy on the team because there's just
so
too
quick.
many critical people going down. And then lastly, which we kind of talked about before, is that power play percentage has to. I mean, they're at 0. They have 15 opportunities and they have 0 power play goals.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty
It's
pretty
bizarre.
rough.
Yeah.
That's very rough.
Which says a lot for the fact that they've won 4 games with 0 power play
Right.
goals. Like that, it is weird that like some of these teams like seem to be better 5-on-5 than they are 5-on-4. Like that's just so weird to me. But
Crazy.
like,
It
um,
is because and part of it's because like it's very different on the specialty teams, like like you just approach it differently and it is strange that like how different teams play where it's like you'll see that every game where like a team will just be like dominating, then they'll get a power play and then like it can sometimes turn the momentum of the game because like like if they have a good kill then it like steals all their mojo. It's pretty crazy.
So here's the other thing. It's like it seems like everybody's just behaving against Vegas because they also have the fewest power play opportunities. So like people are just watching their P's and Q's around them for some reason. So the fewest opportunities. So, fewer opportunities, of course
Well,
you're gonna have fewer successes.
those misfits, we don't want to mess with them.
Right, yeah.
it's also partially likely because I mean, one of the things that gets a lot of penalties is your high skill players, right? Like
Yeah.
Nathan
For oh
McKinnon,
yeah.
the Avalanche draws
Just
a ton
get
of
in front of
penalties
them no matter
because he's
what. Yep.
fast,
Yep.
he's working hard, and like
Yeah.
guys have to cheat to try to pull these guys down.
Yep.
All right, who have you been missing all year? Stone and Pacioretty. How much?
Right.
I wonder. I'd like to see how many penalties those guys draw on average a year.
Pacioretty was
But I
the number
bet
one scorer for all of 2021, like for us. Like
I mean, so
not even close.
not only do you not have two really deadly guys for your power play, but two guys who probably draw a lot of penalties aren't there to be getting those calls. So that's probably part of it. You also don't have Ryan Reeves anymore, like goading people into stupid penalties. You're missing that.
I miss Reeves.
What about you, Shai? I'm interested to hear. I mean, you guys are an expansion team.
Yeah.
What would you like? End of the season. What's a successful year look like for you? Like, is it like does it matter where they finish? Is it more about how they played? Like, is it, are you hoping that they can make the playoffs? Like, which is not impossible in like what is a fairly weak Pacific division. Like, you have that going for you. Like, that there is maybe some room to get in there. What do
Yeah.
you
I
think?
like. I think. I don't have high expectations or hopes. Unfortunately, I think I probably have lower expectations than probably a lot of people since the Golden Knights had such a good expansion year. I don't really expect to go to the playoffs, even though we're in the Pacific Division, like you said. Like I don't think it's that powerhouse of a division, but I think already, like I don't know. I mean, if we were to like break even wins and losses, I feel like I think that'd be a
500
pretty
season.
good sign. I mean, we're not obviously on track for that right now, but I'm also glad that we're not 0-10. Like, I mean, Not that that was
Yeah.
likely, but I mean, there are teams out there that haven't won a game yet. Maybe one team now. I forget. Didn't Chicago get their first win? I think they did
Let's
maybe. So
see.
it may just be
I
Arizona
think
who
you're
doesn't have a
right.
win yet. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
Chicago's 1-7. It's only Arizona.
yeah,
Arizona, they're in a full rebuild. Like this is not.
yeah,
It's not accidental that they're 0-8. Their
yeah.
management is stockpiling draft picks. They're doing a full-on Houston Astros type of like tank and get as many assets as they can. Like their goal is to be last this year. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha.
Whether that's
I've
stated or
heard
not, that's what
I'd
they've been
heard
doing.
rumor. I knew that they were rebuilding. I didn't know that was maybe the ideal
Yeah,
situation. But
they made a
um,
ton of trades. Like they have I don't know, they have like 9 or 10 picks in the first couple rounds next year. Like
nice,
they have been stockpiling draft picks.
nice.
So
I
that's
think my selfish goal, oddly enough, for a new team is that like I just want to build a connection with a player like this year and like maybe next year buy like a jersey, like I have a player that I'm like a player that I'm rooting for that looks like they're gonna be staying in
yeah.
Seattle for a while and like be able to root for someone. So I don't know. We'll see if that happens or not. But
I like what's let me see. Do I still have it? Where's my oh, I don't know if I have it saved. There's a cool site that I used to have. I think it was called
yeah,
capfriendly.com.
I've heard of Cap Friendly a lot. I've heard a lot of people
Like
talk about that.
it like show your like all the contracts and stuff your team has. So
Nice.
that can be a useful one to be like, how long is this guy signed, right? Like how long is he coming? Is he a pending
Because those
free agent?
jerseys aren't cheap, man.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I don't know that I'd buy an official jersey, but yeah.
I definitely want to get a Sam Gerard jersey this year. Just because that's a little bit now my son's namesake, and because I think he's very underrated. I think a lot of people give him a lot of hate because he's a smaller defenseman, and I ride for Sam Gerard. I think he's awesome. So,
Nice.
and I think I'm I'm trying to convince Sarah to get a Kale McCarr jersey. That way
Mm,
we could have like the two defensemen, like we could be like a defensive pairing between the two of us. I think that'd be
nice.
cute. But
I would have loved a Reeves or a Flurry, and they're both not with Golden Knights anymore.
you can always still like make a facsimile of it, right? Like you can do like you know how they have like you can get a Golden Knight jersey customized. So
Mm,
Yeah,
like you can always just customize it to be, like if I want a Joe Sakic jersey, I can do 19 and Sakic is the name and put it on an Avs jersey and there
a
you go.
Carlson's through 2027. I mean, that's a great one right there. Yep.
You don't have any, I assume. Shy,
No,
you don't have any.
Petrangelo would be a good one
You
too.
don't either.
I
You
would like
don't
a
either, Ben.
Petrangelo one. No, I don't.
don't have any
I'm
what?
look jerseys. Yeah,
No,
I have Kraken jerseys.
no. I only have the hat. I was looking at a hoodie. The NHL shop was doing a sale the other day for Halloween, and I was looking at like the one design because I was like, I'll just buy a hoodie for the winter and just have like a general Seattle Kraken like hoodie. And there's one I really like the design of. I'm like, I'll get that one. And the only like apparently it's basically sold out. Oh, the only size they have is a small. And the thing is, like, it doesn't have anything about like notify me when these are in stock again. Like, it's just like
Sucks.
I don't know if it's like a limited edition like hoodie or just like I just need to be checking back every once in a while. But like, I'll definitely if that gets restocked, I'll be picking that up. But
All right, fellows. Well, let's wrap this up. But do we want to make? Last year, Van and I made a couple wagers. Um, do we want to put any bets out this season? Now that we've had 8 to 10 games with our teams, is there anything we want to put like either like a three-way competition or like is there something we could do? You know, that's not necessarily tied to final standings to make it more interesting for Shy. Like, what
yeah,
if we said, okay, like here's one that I feel like might be interesting. Right now, we're in the we're all three teams are in the bottom six of the power play. Uh, what if we put the best power play percentage amongst our teams versus the worst or something like that? Like, is that interest? Is there any interest in that, or is that like too silly or too nonsensical?
yeah. I don't know. I was trying to think of that too. Like, what would make a good wager? Maybe that would be a good question of the day. I think we
What,
didn't we talk have time to talk about the wagers last time, or was that all decided on podcast? I'm trying to remember if that was like discussed.
oh
Like,
no, we all just got. I think we did that. I don't remember now. That was a
I feel
long
like
time ago.
it was
I think that was
discussed.
time in the making.
Yeah, I think there was time in the making. I feel like so. I wonder if
We have
like
a
maybe
cleanup
like that'd
one
be
or
a
two.
good like
question of
Yeah.
the day for the future. All right, well, stay
Yeah.
tuned then. We'll come back to you with
The
fast
Leonard
food rankings.
Flurry combination was 12 million.
Yeah, I thought it was really
12
high.
million.
Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
my
it was
god.
a lot. It was a lot
Oh,
of
that
money.
was
So
high.
Leonard's at 5 and Flurry's at 7 million a year for 3 years, 21 million. That's out of control amount of money.
And I haven't been tracking how Fleury's been doing, but I don't know that he's been doing great where he went. So I don't know
Well,
that like,
well, I'll,
yeah,
I'll give you a hint. He went to Chicago,
yeah,
so.
yeah. That's what I thought. So
But I mean, we're not gonna have time to get into it. But they're obviously going through uh,
yeah.
a lot of distractions, if you will.
Well, not
Uh,
just them.
from
Like there's ripples going throughout the league, obviously,
yeah,
right? Hitting the Florida
yeah,
Panthers, hitting. I mean, all kinds of organizations. So
and from what I know of it, rightfully so. I think evildoers should be punished. And if you sit by and let bad things happen and don't do anything about it, then I'm all for justice. But that's another podcast, perhaps. Any final thoughts on our NHL report this week, gentlemen? Good to be back.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Feels right.
All right. Well, next time we'll get you guys caught up on our Final Fantasy 11 report. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I know some of you are here more for the video game side than the sports side. So if you're looking forward to a Final Fantasy topic, that will be next time. We're probably looking at every 2 weeks for the immediate future. We're probably not going to be back on a weekly schedule quite yet. We'll probably be doing every other week. So probably look for us at our normal time, not next Tuesday, but the subsequent Tuesday, which is, I believe, the 16th. So, if you would like to, get in contact with us, we'd love to hear from you. I know we've been off for a little bit, so if you got questions, if you have topics, things you'd like updates on, things you'd like us to talk about, things that maybe happened while we were off that we would have talked about but didn't, and that we're forgetting, let us know about it. Give us a line. We can be found on Twitter at Focus Target. We have our YouTube page, Focus Target Podcast, is our YouTube, and all of our previous episodes and some of the side stuff and side streams that we do is on there. And of course, the best place to catch us is by email, focustargetpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, we're streaming live on twitch.tv/focustargetpodcast. We can be found there as well. We haven't had a lot of time. I don't think any of us have had a lot of time for streaming lately, but we'll see what comes up. Anyway, that is Focus Target Podcast, episode 102. Thanks for being back with us. I am your host, Smiley.
this is Shy.
And I'm Van. As always, cover us, Porkins. We're out.